All right, and welcome back to World History. So today we're actually going to be taking a quick look at the world history themes in this kind of introduction to the course. This allows us to recognize that from America to Africa to the Middle East to the Far East, wherever it may be in the world, people are more alike than they realize. Throughout history, humans have confronted similar obstacles, have struggled to achieve similar goals, and continually have strived to better themselves and the world around them. So while historical events are unique, they often are driven by a similar repeated force. In telling the history of our world, we will pay special attention to 8 of these significant and reoccurring themes. So to start off, we have our first 3 here. We're going to be taking a look at authority and power, religious and ethical systems, and revolution. So beginning with authority and power, history is often made by the people and institutions that are in power. And as we learn about the world's powerful people and governments, we are going to try to answer several key questions. Who holds the power? How did that person or group get to power? What system of government provides order in a society? And how does the group or person in power keep or lose their power? When it comes to religious and ethical systems, throughout history, humans around the world have seen, I have actually been guided by, as much as anything else in their lives, their religious and ethical beliefs. So as we examine the world's religious and ethical systems, we will pay close attention to these several important issues. What beliefs are held by a majority of a people in a region? How do these major religious beliefs differ from one another? How do the various religious groups interact with one another? And how do religious groups react toward non-members? Our third category here is revolution. Often in history, great change has been achieved, usually and only through force. So as we learn about the continuous overthrow of governments, institutions, and even ideas throughout history, we're going to examine, again, several key questions. What long-term ideas or institutions are being overthrown? What caused people to make this radical change? And what are the results of this change? For our themes 4, 5, and 6, we're going to be taking a look at interactions with the environment, economics, and cultural interactions. So looking at number 4 here, interactions with the environment. Since the earliest of times, humans have had to deal with their surroundings in order to survive. As we learn about our continuous interaction with the environment, we need to keep in mind that we have several important issues that we will have to deal with. How many humans adjust to the climate and terrain where they live? How have changes in the natural world forced people to change? And what positive and negative changes have people made to their environment? When dealing with economics, it has proven to be a powerful force in human history. From early times to the present, human cultures have been concerned with how to use their scarce resources to satisfy their needs. As we learn about different groups, several key issues regarding the role of economics in our world, in world history, will arise. So these include what goods and services does a society produce, who controls the wealth and resources of a society, how does a society obtain more goods and services. With cultural interactions, today people around the world share many things, from music to food to ideas. Human cultures actually have interacted with each other since ancient times. So as we look at how these different cultures have interacted, again, we note several significant issues. How have the cultures interacted through trade, migration, conquest, whatever it may be? What items have cultures passed on to each other? And what political, economic, and religious ideas have cultures shared? In addition, what positive and negative effects have resulted from cultural interaction? And we see those even today. Our last two, we look at empire building and science and technology. With empire building, since the beginning of human history, our cultures have shared a similar desire to grow more powerful, often by dominating other groups. We see that through the Romans and even all the way up through World War II and the Nazi regime. So as we learn about empire building throughout the ages, we're going to focus again on several key issues. What motivates groups to conquer other lands and people? How does one society gain control of others? And how does a dominating society control and rule its subjects? When we start looking at science and technology, all humans share an endless desire to know more about their world and to solve whatever problems that they encounter. The development of science and technology has played a key role in these quests. So as we learn about the role of science and technology in world history, we try to answer again several key questions. What tools and methods do people use to solve various problems that they face? How do people gain knowledge about their world? And how do they use that knowledge? And how do new discoveries and inventions change the way people live? So it really comes down to one big question, right? How do we know all of this? So I have one question for you then, in order to answer this, and it really comes down to, do you like puzzles? So, if so, then you're in luck. You're about to encounter the greatest puzzle there is, and that's history itself. The study of history is so much more than the recollection of dates and names. It's an attempt to answer a continuous and puzzling question. And typically, that's what really happened. So we have historians and researchers and archaeologists. They dig through centuries of artifacts. We start to uncover eyewitness accounts, and we look through and research so many different areas. So as I said, with uncovering eyewitness accounts, we look at primary and secondary accounts in order to try and take in as much information as necessary. And on top of that, you have so much other data that is kind of helping to piece together this ever-growing puzzle of understanding our world's history. And those are the 8 significant and reoccurring themes that we're going to continue to run through as we move through world history and trying to analyze and discuss this. We'll be, as a recap, we're going to be looking at authority and power, religious and ethical systems, revolutions, interaction with our environment, economics, cultural interactions, empire building, and finally science and technology. And then by taking all of this information in, we'll be able to piece that together and hopefully have a good overall picture of world history.